really popular dish in the Yucatan called Papadzules. And when I describe it to you, if you haven't been raised eating it, it may sound like one of the strangest dishes ever. It looks a little bit like an enchilada. So it's a tortilla that is rolled around hard-boiled egg, and then it's covered with this velvety, creamy textured pumpkin seed sauce, and then it's splashed with a roasted tomato sauce. Odd as it may seem, you just have to taste it. It's so incredibly delicious, and I'm gonna walk you through how you make it. And we're gonna start with that roasted tomato sauce part of it. I've got some ripe tomatoes here, and I'm gonna put them onto a baking sheet. This one's covered with some foil. That just makes easy cleanup. And I'm gonna roast the tomatoes under a preheated broiler. I have the rack up as high as it will go. It'll take about 5 or 6 minutes for them to blacken and blister, and we'll flip them over 5 or 6 minutes on the other side. While those are roasting, I'm going to saute half an onion in olive oil over medium heat. When the tomatoes are roasted, remove them from under the broiler, let them cool off a little bit till you can handle them, and then pull off the blackened skins. Put the tomatoes into a blender jar and blend them till you have a coarse puree. Now the blended tomatoes are going to go into the brown onions. So they're a nice little crackle. Stir that around and let it start reducing. But we're going to give it the seasonings that really make this into a Yucatan flavored dish, and that would be habanero chile. So this may be too hot for some people. If you like spicy food, chop it up a whole lot. If you don't like very spicy food at all, make a little slit in the side of it and let it just simmer as a whole chili with the slit in this sauce. I like sort of medium spicy food, so I'm gonna cut it in half and then just drop the 2 halves in there and let that simmer. This is a very multi-purpose sauce called tomate frito in the Yucatan. It's delicious on eggs. Make a huevos rancheros Yucatan style with this kind of a sauce, and everybody will really love that. I'm gonna move the sauce over here, turn it on to a medium low, and let that simmer away while we go to the next stage, which is to prepare the pumpkin seed sauce. I'm gonna put a skillet here again over this kind of medium heat, and I have some untoasted pumpkin seeds. Now it's easy to find toasted salted pumpkin seeds, and they make a great snack. For this particular preparation, you're probably better off to make it with untoasted pumpkin seeds that you toast yourself. So I've got my untoasted pumpkin seeds here. I put them over the medium heat. This is going to take a few minutes, and we're going to let them heat until we hear the first pop. They will pop from flat to that sort of a shape, and that will indicate that they have changed their starch sort of makeup in there, and they're going to have a beautiful flavor. We don't want them to be too toasted. While these are getting warm and starting to toast, I'm going to make the broth that goes into this, and that starts with water. I'm going to measure 3 cups of water here and pour that into our pan. Turn that on to about a medium high here because we're going to let that come to a simmer. And to it we're going to add epazote. This is one of the classic flavors of this. So I'm going to put a couple of sprigs of epazote into this broth. I'll put another little piece of onion in there that I'm going to chop up as well. We're going to strain this out so it can be a rough chop on that. And then our seasoning for it will be 2 teaspoons of salt. We're going to let this come to a simmer and then turn it off and let it steep for 15 minutes, then strain out the solids. We're ready to strain and blend. Pour that directly into the blender jar. Get these guys out of here. And now these pumpkin seeds. Wow, I wish you could smell what they smell like, because there's nothing better than toasted pumpkin seed aroma to fill the kitchen. Now they've cooled off quite a bit now. And then put the blender jar back on the base, and we're gonna blend it until we have a smooth puree. Now let's see what this looks like. I like to just rub a little bit through my fingers there. It's really very incredibly velvety. I'm gonna pour it back into the pot that we made the broth, but it's a little thick. It should be the consistency of a nice cream soup, I think. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water to it and then correct the seasonings. Yeah, that's about the right consistency now. That looks really beautiful. Now a little bit of salt. And sprinkle a little bit of salt over this tomato sauce. That should be enough to season it. The temperature underneath this sauce to rewarm it should be very low. You never ever want it to come to a boil. And now on to these hard-boiled eggs. They need to be chopped up for the filling. So I'm using an old-fashioned pastry blender. You can just chop them with a knife if you wanted to. You don't have to be very meticulous about it. Okay, and now last thing, tortillas. We've got to warm them so that they're ready to roll around the hard-boiled egg filling. And I'm gonna show you my way of doing it with store-bought tortillas. I like to use the microwave as a steamer to kind of reconstitute them, because they're usually a little bit dry. So paper towels are going to be the moisture in this steamer, and I like to just get them a little bit wet and then wring them out and lay a stack of 12 tortillas, put that into a bag. 12 is about as many as you can do in this microwave way of heating the tortillas. Put them in there. You notice I didn't seal the bag. If you do, it'll balloon way up as steam is created. Let these heat for 1 minute, and then let them sit for 1 minute to finish that heating process. And then you're ready to assemble the Papadzules.